Okay, I'm gonna. Can you hear that? Testing, testing. How's it sound? Does it sound scratchy? Okay. What's that? Okay. Okay, I put this on my belt. Can you hear it? Okay. Okay. So what I've got set up is basically the way you want to be thinking about setting up to take this test. But before you get to your setup point, you've got to do your planning. You've got to organize the whole process from beginning to end on what you're going to do. And of course, it starts out with your recipes. Okay, you should have recipes for everything that you're going to be putting on the plate. These are a little bit different, only in the fact that when I did this as a competition, I used coconut curry mashed potatoes, and my requirement for the test is the tournée. So I adjusted that, and instead of doing the coconut mash, we're doing the tournée that's cooked in the coconut milk with the curry powder and those flavors. The ingredients and the amounts didn't change that much, but this way I can show you how that requirement fits into it as well. So after you get your recipes, just like lab, you have to have a prep list. I have my prep list taped to the table here. It's easy for me to just glance at. The thing is, you're not going to spend a lot of time checking off your prep list as a guide to keep you on task, to keep you going where you need to go with everything. The third thing that you need to make sure you develop then is your equipment list. Get a list together of all the equipment you're going to need to take this exam. And again, this is pretty much the same format if I was going to do the bench test for certification, if I was going to do competitions. What we're doing is what's called best practices. Everything we want to work on is what is the best practice for doing things. I realize in commercial kitchens we're not always going to operate at this level all the time, but when we're testing our skills and testing our knowledge base, this is what we want to be doing. We want to focus on what is the best possible way to do this stuff. So I'll have my prep list here. It's my guide again. It just helps me remind myself that this is the next thing I need to be working on. So when you develop that prep list, think about the things that are high priority, the most important things you want to be doing. What are they? And put those in the order that you need to get them accomplished. And one of the very first things you want to have on that prep list is your protein. You want to fabricate your protein first before you do anything else. This prevents cross-contamination from the meat juices and things that are going to really mess up your plate. So that's the very first thing you want to do. It gets it out of the way, and you don't have to worry about it. Now, some of the other classes asked about fish fabrication, because it doesn't take nearly as long, and you can do it rather quickly. But as I explained, you're still dealing with fish oils, scales possibly, and other things. Get it done, get it out of the way, so then you don't have to worry about that at the latter point of the test when you need to have other things out. Get your fish fabricated, get it portioned to the size that you want, store it correctly, and cook it at the appropriate time. Just because you have it fabricated early doesn't mean you have to cook it early either. Okay? And the last thing you want to do is put together just a sketch of your plate. I call this my map. It doesn't have to be perfect. It should be large enough, though, not a postage-size stamp. Make it large enough so you can see it. Okay, and in the heat of battle, when you're trying to get stuff together, it's just a quick reminder of what you want that plate to look like. And it gives you a map of what has to be on the plate. It's a reminder. A lot of times what will happen is we'll forget to put something on the plate. We'll have done the work, we'll put everything together, and then the last minute, it doesn't go on the plate. We completely forgot about it. So this is also a reminder of, oh yes, I need to have this on the plate. That's important. Then if you look at the way I have everything set up here, and I'll take this too, and during the time I'm testing, I'll just tape it to the table. It's kind of out of my way, so that at the time of dish up, it's accessible, I have it, and I don't have to worry about it. Also, it's another kind of reminder I have of what product I need to be working on. Now let's take a look at some things here that are on the table. My protein is properly iced below and on top. I have my knife and utensil storage on the table, but you'll also note that I have another one underneath the table so that I don't put any dirty utensils back into this bin. Okay? Again, cross-contamination. We don't want to have that happen. Okay? And if I'm going to put something back in here, I have a wash bucket and a sandy bucket that I'll use to clean it before I put it back in there. The wash and sandy bucket are acceptable to use to clean your hands throughout the process. You don't have to run to the sink over there to go wash your hands during the test. It'll work just as well on your hands also. Competition, I'll use the antibacteria gels you can get. They're quick, they're easy, and they're actually, if you're switching out gloves, it's really nice because they're usually alcohol-based, which then dries your hands real quick and allows the gloves to slide on a lot easier. Okay. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Hey, I could eat your food. If it's going to be safe, I'm happy. Okay. I also have underneath here 3 pans. I have compost, usable waste, and meat scraps. And they're currently sitting on ice, and they're labeled. Okay. These are important because the way that we put product in these pans is very important. You don't want to, for example, take used gloves and put them in any of these, okay? That's not what these are for. Compost is exactly what it means. It would go into a compost. So if you don't put it in a normal compost, you're not going to put it in here. It's usually going to be your peelings and things of that nature that you want to put in here. Usable waste is something that is good product that you can still use. Potato scrap for mashed potatoes, things like that. In that case, though, I'm actually going to take one of my quart containers and put some water in there and put those trimmings in there for my tornado potatoes so that they're still good. The meat scraps, when I fabricate my lamb, I'm going to have fat and bones. They're going to go on one side, and I'm going to have meat trim that's going to go on the other side. This is so that I can later on separate out that meat and use it for another dish. Lamb fat many times is rendered down and used for a lot of other things, and the bones can be used to make a stock or a sauce with. Okay, so I want to show anybody that's doing my assessment that I've thought this through, and I know what I'm going to be using these things for, and they're going in the correct bin. Okay, so I've made a plan, and they're going into that. I have another container here just for garbage. If you can look at my tray, I've got all kinds of things that I'm going to quickly open, dispose of, and get rid of, and they're going to go into my garbage container. I have a bus tub under here. This bus tub is used for my dirty pots and pans. I don't want to, I'm limited on space. I have nowhere to put them but there, and that's where they belong. Okay, so I want to utilize the space I can, the best I can. I have my side towel on over here, which is used only for what? Right, it's a pot holder. That's all it is. It's not a hand wipe. Neither is your apron. Throughout the entire test, you either wash your hands and dry your hands, but you never wipe them on your uniform or your side towel. You keep them clean. On the cart over here, I've set up my tray so that it's also got a little map of reminders on there for me. This is, again...
And you have 1 hour to perform this task to show that you can cook. And it's a lot like working a line in a kitchen. How many of you have worked a hot line somewhere in the kitchen? Okay. And on that line, when you come in every day, everything should be in the same place every time. And in fact, in some cases, you could probably grab things with your eyes closed because they're always going to be in the same spot. It's just knowing where something is all the time, grabbing it, and working it the same way. This tray is set up so that it would be assimilated to that. Okay, now I don't do this every day, so I've labeled what each of these areas are on the tray so that it's just a reminder. I don't have to sit there and hunt through every here and go, well, what was this for? It's mapped out on the tray for me. It tells me what it's for. Okay. I'm not. Oh, there it is. Okay. So it's important that we take a look and some things are going to slide around and stuff, but you'll have a general idea of where everything is on here that you're going to need. So it's important for us to keep that in mind. On my tray, I have some olive oil. It's probably a little more than what I want, but it's a little extra so that, if I need something to saute with or I've got it there, it's good to go. Okay. My potatoes have been peeled and quartered, ready for my tournée. I have the celery. It's all peeled and ready to go. I'm going to use that for my julienne. I have Swiss chard, and I have whole beets here that I'm going to use to roast off. Okay. I'm probably only going to need one of those, so a little excess amount there than what I actually need. I have my mirepoix ready to go. Because this is all going to be done in one pan and in a short time frame, I'm not going to separate it out like I would normally ask you to do in class. I'm going to keep it together. And okay, I have a little sachet to add flavor to my sauce when I get ready to make it. I have my stock, and I have some finishing herbs for it, and I have a little bit of tomato paste that I use to tighten it up at the end. With my potato, I have my seasoning. I have curry. I have coconut milk. I have some sugar and a little bit more milk as well. And then I have another container of salt and pepper, a little bit of cayenne as well, probably a little more than I actually need. Let's go over here. And then I have some butter. Okay, these are all the things I'm going to use to prepare my two dishes today with. On here I have some breadcrumbs, some Parmesan cheese, a little bit of honey, some mustard, and some tarragon, and that's going to go in what I call Provençal mix. I'm going to roll my lamb in that. You'll see that when I get ready to do it. Okay. I also have on another tray up here some extra pieces of equipment that I'll use throughout the test, although I'm not going to use all these, so you might as well just take them out. I'll let you have those, David. I have some chef spoons, and I have some tasting spoons. Okay. Throughout lab, we've talked about this. You need to taste your food before you put it out so you know what's going on. What would happen if you prepared something that was overly salted or not edible at that point in time? Would you put it on the plate? No. Lose the point. That's all you can do at that point in time unless there's time enough on the clock for you to allow to fix something. But generally there's not. So you want to make sure that you taste everything that goes on that plate. But to serve something that's inedible to your customers is a larger crime. So you just have to make the decision to cut your losses and go with what you already have. Okay? But you do want to taste. You want to make sure that you're adjusting and correcting and all those kinds of things as you go along. That's very important. I have two pans up here that I'm going to use for dredging my lamb. So I can rub the honey mustard on there, and I can do my Provençal as well. That's what I'm using. So I have those there as well. I have a little container of ice water for shocking my vegetables, and I needed a little bit of foil to roast my beet in, so I have that cut, and it's up there already. That way, in the middle of the exam, I'm not running around looking for the foil. I've planned it, and it's all on there. At the stove, I have saute pans. I have 3 pans. My plan is that initially I'm going to take the lamb after I season it. It's been fabricated and tied. I'm going to brown it off in here, and then I'm going to add my mirepoix to it, and I'm going to throw it in the oven. Okay, so that my mirepoix is actually cooking with my lamb in the oven. At the 3/4 point of my lamb being done, I'm going to pull my lamb out of the pan. I'll have another saute pan ready to go. I'll bread my lamb, and then I'll put it in the new saute pan with a little bit of olive oil and finish it off in the oven. Take the old pan with the mirepoix in there, and I'll add my stock to it and my sachet and my tomato paste and let that stock cook down so I can develop my sauce. The third pan is for my vegetables. I'm going to have the julienne. I'm going to have
the Swiss chard that's been blanched and shocked, and I've got some other seasoning and flavors to add to that. And I'm going to dice my beet, and that will also go into that pan. And then I have some butter and some shallots and salt and pepper and a little bit of vinegar, and I add a little bit of sugar because of the beet that's in there. And that will go into my saute pan for my vegetables. The little sauce pot, once I have my sauce to where I want it, I'll strain and put that into my sauce pot. And, of course, I have some extras there. Why? Because I might have to strain it again. I might not like the outcome or the consistency, so I have extra sauce pots to cover my bases to make sure I have what I need. I have strainers here, one of which is specifically going to be used for my shocking or blanching of my vegetables. And that way I can go right into my ice water there. And in my case, this dish, I'm going to be combining everything into that one pan. So the celeriac and the Swiss chard will get shocked, squeeze out the excess water in the Swiss chard into the pan, blanch my celeriac, take that out, shake it off, and into that pan. Okay. I have here a utensil bucket for my tongs. And if there's something else I'm cooking with, I have that near my stove as well. Now, in this test, you're only allowed 2 burners. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to operate with 2 burners throughout the test. Now, if you were to displace a pan onto another burner, it's fine. If you're not cooking on that other burner, I don't have an issue with it. The main concern is that everyone that's taken the test has access to their 2 burners. That's the only thing I'm concerned with. Why am I only giving you two burners to cook with? Because I really want to push you and test your skills and knowledge and make sure that you can do, under limited conditions, the things that you need to do. So when you come in the morning, you're going to see your area taped off. Your name will be here. You'll have a start time, and we'll say we're going to start this at 9:05. And that means now from 9:05 until 10:05, I have cooking time. Okay, so we'll say cooking ends 10:05, and then we're going to say window opens. This is for your dish up or plate up at 10:05, and your window closes when you should be completely done at 10:15. We say window closed. Now, can I cook during the time my window opens? Yes. If you have to finish some cooking at that point in time, yes, you can.
Okay? But everything ends. Plating, the whole thing ends at 10:15. So whether you are done or not, now you're going to start losing points. Okay? And very important, especially for this exam, you need to finish. No matter what the time is, no matter what has happened, you need to finish. Okay? I do not want to see anybody throw their hands up, walk away, and say, I'm done.
Okay? Because, we're assessing you on everything. Okay? We're going to be looking at your sanitation and organization. Angela and Aaron are going to be in the kitchen here, and they will be watching every single thing you do. And this is to make sure that you are following all the sanitation rules and that you're organized and not discombobulated over here and have all kinds of things all over the place that you shouldn't have. They're making sure that you have a plan. They're going to look to see if you had a prep list. They're going to look to see if you did your drawing. They're going to look to see if you have your recipe card. They're going to look at every single thing you do in here to make sure that you are following the rules of the exam. And the rubric has all of the deductions that are in there. So one thing you always remember when you do something like this, you've got all the points when you walk in. Okay? It's your job to keep those points. You start losing points when you don't do the things that you're supposed to. So it's probably a good idea to study the rubric and remember those things so that when you go to take the test, you will do all the things you're supposed to do. So once your plates have been plated up, they go up to that window up there. Angela or Aaron or both or whatever will bring me the plates out into the dining room, and I will go through the tasting portion of the test. Along with your plates, they'll bring out your recipes, your prep list, and any other paperwork that you've brought to this test so that I can take a look at that as well and see what it is you are trying to accomplish. And I will compare your menu to what I see on the plate. I'm looking at, first of all, the temperature of the food, making sure that it's served at the right temperatures. You've used correct heat transfer skills. I'm looking to see that your knife skills are applied to the plate as asked, that you've done the starch, the veg, the sauce, and the protein, and that all of those things have been done correctly. And then I taste all your food to make sure that everything has good flavor and there's good balance on the plate. If you've got something sweet, you've got something tart, if you've got, something hot, something cool, along those lines, okay? So if you think about this, every single thing that you've done in lab this semester, every single thing that we have pushed you to do is a part of this test, okay? So that's how this all goes. Now you have 10 minutes before the start of your exam time to come in and take your test. So if you're starting at 8 o'clock, you come to the kitchen at 7:50 and set up your station as you see it now. Okay? You're allowed to come in here and get everything ready so that at your start time, you're ready to go. So the best thing to do is to go through the equipment list, get everything together on a tray. So really all you're doing is coming in and laying it out. Okay? You might even, when you gather your equipment, just do a real quick layout and make sure that you've covered all your bases. This video will be up on Blackboard as well. You can review what I've done here today, so you have an opportunity to, watch and see what's going on. And with that, that means my start time has just started. So I'm going to get started here. And for the time being, I'm going to put that there. Pull out my boning knife. And my time might go over a little bit to explain what I'm doing to you with the product as well. Okay. This is a half a lamb rack. It's been split and chimed already, so I don't have to worry about that. But I do want to take a look and see if there's any pieces of bone in there, and there is a little bit. So I want to just come around like so and pull those out of there. And then I also have my container here for my meat scraps. And for the time being, I can throw them in there. And that was about the only one there.
Next thing I want to look for is any nerve down here. When we chime our lamb rack, sometimes there's a little bit of a nerve left behind here. We want to peel that out of there. And then next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the rack ready to French. In this case, all I'm doing is I'm going to peel back the back side here a little bit first, so that when I go to French this, it should come apart a little bit easier for me, okay? And usually in the fabrication process, this process here, it takes a while to do it, but it's worth it in your time frame to spend that time to get it done right, okay? Because properly fabricated, your cooking will be a lot nicer, and your final product will end up being very nice. So it's very important that you do a good job making sure that you fabricate well, so that when you're cooking this product, you're not going to end up with less than what you would like to have. Yes. Okay. You need to show you know how to handle this protein, and so I don't get to just fabricate a section of it. I have to.
The chine bone. If you're doing lamb, I'm trying to get them so they're all coming in like this, so you don't have to mess with it. We're very fortunate to get it like this, so I'm hoping that I can do so for those of you that have chosen lamb. Well, yeah, because you're in the Thursday lab, it shouldn't be a big deal, okay? Because all that proteins I try to get in by Monday, okay? But all I want to do is go down each one and free up the back side first. And really, I'm pressing my knife right into the groove of the bone there to try and get that separation to happen early on. In lamb, it's always nice to work very cold. As the lamb warms up, the fat melts, and it doesn't work as well for you. So I'm just going to keep peeling those back like so. So underneath each one of these bones. Keep peeling that back, and then I'm looking for any excess attachment here, if you will. I want to make sure that's all out of there. And again, I'm just running my knife up against those grooves so that when I go to peel that out of there, I should come away with a fairly clean rib bone there. Okay. I want to keep working my way down. There's a lot of extra meat on lamb, and when we get to the next French out the bones, we're going to make sure that we get all this excess red meat off the lamb, and we can use it in other dishes. Now, when I did my competition, and I'm not doing it for this, I took that meat and I made lamb chorizo with it. I ground it up, and that's where I took care of it. Now, you'll notice, too, they're not sitting out, but over here, during the exam, there'll be a mixer, a spice grinder, a Vitaprep, and a Cuisinart, and that's where they're stationed at. So if your cooking process requires those tools, they'll be available, but you have to use them there. And when you use them there, when you're done, you need to clean them right away. Because it's not fair to someone that needs to use that, that's taking the test, to walk up and have a dirty piece of equipment. And I bring that up because I said that in my competition I made chorizo, so I would have had to use a mixer with grinding parts and have it all ready to go. Yes, I said you could do that as long as you're not using that other burner to cook with. Right, exactly. Yep. Right, we don't want to melt the butt stuff.
Um, yes, you can. Yes. I think you're going to find, though, I mean, you can, but I think you're going to find you won't need to. Just because literally by the time you finish your starch and veg, you're already plating. But, I could be wrong, and you might need to do so. Then that's a critical thinking part of the test where you have to make that decision. Is that something I'm going to need to do? Because, again, you are held accountable for hot food. Okay? So I know it seemed like a lot of time to go through this, but I want to make sure, again, when I go to French these bones, they peel away nicely for me. And they don't always come off easy. I can tell you that I've had a couple here where they just do not want to come off of there. Okay? Uh, sure. But, right, it cuts into your time. So if you're not on time, it is. That's the deduction. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is, there's a soft part of the cartilage here in the shoulder. I'm going to run my knife into that first, and then I'm going to curve it across like so, and then I'm just going to come down just like this. Okay? And then I'm going to peel this back and run my knife right up along those rib bones. You can trim it up and make appetizers out of it. There's a lot of things you can do with it. In my restaurant, we used to serve it with the lamb itself. I would fry them up with garlic and butter and things, and I would offer that along with the lamb. It would be like these little crispy pieces to go along with the lamb as well. Yeah, I really like them.
Now I'm just peeling these back like so. I use a towel because I can get a nice grip on it. And it really helps me to, and I don't try to go all the way down on each bone until, I start the next one. So now I can go to this one, and then I start the next one, and start peeling it back. Work my way all the way down. So here's a question. What if you cut yourself during this process? What do you think? You're fabricating the meat, and you wound yourself. It happens. What are you going to do? Well, if it goes on the product, that's a problem. But stop what you're doing. Do all the right things that you would do in the kitchen. We'll stop your time. Yep, because I want you to take care of yourself. I don't want to, I want it to be properly looked at, make sure that it's safe for you to continue even. Okay? Because some cases it may not be. You might have to go get stitches. Okay? But what's important is you follow all the right steps. Okay? What would you do in the kitchen? How would you handle it? How would you prevent your customers being infected by something? Okay? You need to make sure that all those steps are taken. Okay? So as you can, well, then we need different products. And, well, you'll start from where, yeah. And we'll look at it. It's a case-by-case thing on that. But, if you're careful, you shouldn't have any issues with that. Okay? Yep. We've had a lot of questions on it this week. In fact, both classes asked it, so I just kind of anticipated it this time. Okay, so as you can see,
all the extra work I did really did a nice job for me. And then I'm just going to go back, and there's just some little places here I want to get as well. What do you think would happen if I didn't do a nice job cleaning these bones? What's that? Well, beyond that, though, what happens to that fat when under high heat? It burns, okay? So you really want to do a nice job with these. And this is good trim right here that I'm pulling off, right here. So this is going to go on the top half of my pan. Just cut up a little more, like so. Put it over there. Now, obviously, this towel is not going to be used for anything else, right? Hopefully not. That's right. First thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to start with this piece here. So I want to clean it up. I want to get all this great meat that's on here. Peel that off like so. And this is where keeping the lamb very cold is helpful, because I go to the top side of the fat and trim it off this way. It works a lot better when you do it this way. Just during the test, no, you need to do this. Yep. It's all part of the fabrication process. Okay, and so then, actually, let's strip this off too. Take and cut like this. You can make lamb stew with this. There's a great soup out there called mulligatawny soup that you can use it for. And really, this is, when you buy lamb that's already been Frenched out and cleaned, you're going to pay a premium price for that. And that's a lot of money that you may not have. And if you've got the skills to do your own lamb fabrication, I highly recommend it. Because again, when you start costing out what it costs to serve a rack of lamb in a restaurant, it's not cheap. And so it's to your benefit if you can do this yourself, because then you can cut your costs by serving this meat in another dish. And what I'm working on right now is the shoulder, part of the shoulder. Peel it back like so. All good meat, don't want to let it go to waste. And this can go on this side here. And now I just need to take this, and I'm going to peel it back. Like so. Make a little cut there. And when I get down towards the bone area, I'm not going to cut this all the way off. I want to leave a little bit of a fat line. That's a personal preference. Not all chefs like to do that. But I like to, because I like a little bit of that fat flavor to get in there. And then I'm going to do a little more trim job here. Make sure there's no more loose pieces. I'll trim a little more of this off. This guy was well fed. Okay. Some meat there I want to make sure I take off.
all good, usable meat. Put that there, like so. And I just have
to peel this one apart. This is the other half of that shoulder that we cleaned up. Peel that off like that. Look at all that meat. Don't want to let that go to waste. What's that? Yeah, I mean, I know there's meat there. I mean, after doing it a number of times, it's not about searching, but yes, essentially that's pretty much it. The idea is to see very little red on this side, lots of red on that side. And then again, through the top part of the fat, skin this like so. Lay it up here and do the same thing. Okay. Now I'm going to portion my lamb. My chop size, my loin size is going to be about this big, so I'm not worried about where the bones are. I just want to make sure they're all the same size. Same size. Sure. Okay. So, and then for today's purposes, I'm going to use those two. Set those in there like that. And I'm going to just simply tighten up this and tie it off. I'm not going to get fancy with a knot or anything or do anything special. I just want a nice round loin. Trim it like so. One. Slide that in there like so. Yeah. And I'll pull that ice bag up again. Showing how I'm taking care of my product. Slide that into my ice down here like so. And I'm done with this. So let's switch out some things here. Actually, I'm going to wait a second before I do that. I need to wash my hands so I don't cross-contaminate everything. Yes, and that's correct. And I'm going to get rid of that one. And as you said, okay, so I need my seasoning, salt, pepper, cumin, coriander, some onion powder, and I add some chopped garlic. Now notice I'm not going to put the salt and pepper on there because I don't want to. I'm going to be using those throughout the test. Onion powder, coriander,
garlic. They turned green on me. Okay. Mix this up. And I am in there. Before I put my seasoning on there, I'm going to take this garlic. I'm just going to rub it around. Yes. 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 If it's not a nice cut, yes. Okay, like so. Get rid of my garbage. And then I've got this mixture here. And it's got salt and pepper. Yeah. We won't get too crazy on you if you get close to someone else's station underneath there. All right. So I've got my meat fabricated. I'm done with this knife. And now I'm going to wash up my board. And I'm going to sanitize it. And now I'm going to take this. A little bit. Put this over. And then I want to get a pan on the stove. Get it good and hot. And I'm done with these right now, so I don't need to leave them out. I've got a little bit of olive oil over here. I want my foil and my beets. Well, they go in 15-minute increments. Yes, you can. It wasn't done. Okay.
compost. I'm done with these for right now. Okay. My pan, the oil is nice and hot. I'm going to brown that meat real good. Angela, my knife bag, there's a paring knife I forgot to pull out. Okay. Want to get some nice color on the lamb. Thank you. I'm going to pop this into the oven. Like so. And now I'm going to get my mirepoix. Make some room for the mirepoix to go in there. I'm going to go right to the oven. And we need a little more water. We let that one boil down too much. Yes. As long as you're not getting in the way of anybody else. Yes. The good news is their test will finish a little earlier than yours because their class is smaller. I'm going to turn the heat up there. And now I'm going to start my stock cooking a little bit. I want to at least get it warmed up. So I have some veal stock here. I am making a pan sauce from stock, which is a derivative of mother sauce. So stock is considered to be one of the 5. Yes. Okay. And now you all get to see if your chef knows how to tourne. Okay. Right? That's how I feel about it. The thing is, we should feel confident about everything we do. Okay?
So, not like you. I can use it. I could actually use a chef knife, but I really can.
I've done it. Would that be best practice? No. Okay, no. Every day, though, I have forgotten to do this, and now it's going to be even harder. Hey, I did it. Okay, I did somewhat. Does that mess up the sound? Great. That's on camera. There we go. Yep. No, I'm not. Don't plan on it anytime soon. Okay. Nice. Remember, I haven't evaluated your test yet. Can you use it in your dish? What do you mean? If you want to. My lamb scrap I'm using, though. I have plans for that. About that? It is. Not at the restaurant, but in the hotels, we did a lot of them. I don't think it belongs there. Okay, so then these are going to go over here. So I don't want to spill them. I need another sauce pot. And I have some coconut milk, some curry, a little cayenne. Nope. What's that? Yep. You could. So mine are getting cooked in this. I've got milk, curry, some sugar,
bit of that cayenne that we have too much of. That would be bad. We're warm. What's that? Yes. Okay. I cut myself. Yeah. That's okay. Slight delay there, but we're good to go. So remember, wash and sanitize your knives before you put them back into your containers. Actually, that's where they should be, actually. Here, let me help you. Okay. So I don't need that extra beat. And now, wash my area, make sure I'm all clean. Take my handy rag. All nice and clean. Let's get rid of that one. Okay, so now one thing that you have to keep in mind while you're doing this stuff, you still got to remember what you have in the oven. Okay, you don't want to forget that, lose sight of that. This is a cooking test, so you want to maintain and watch all of those things. Looking good. Now, if I go like this into the boiling water, I'm good. Okay. Now I have my Swiss chard. Could you get blanched and shocked? You can, but I like to do it this way because then I control everything. Okay, and that to me is really important. Okay, by doing this, I can control how green it is, how tender it is, all of those things. And really, that was gift wrap. And now I want to salt my water a little bit. I want to bring over my shocking bucket. And my Swiss chard in there. Let's put it down. Nice green, nice tender Swiss chard. Let's sit there for a second. I have my celeriac right here. Actually, I'll keep it out. My knife. For this one, I'm going to do my julienne. Here we go again. Well, you can get an email to me between now and tomorrow. Well, don't count on it, though. Right. Again, you don't want to forget what you got going on the stove, okay, or in the oven. It's good to me. It can be as an emulsion, but it's not one of the mother sauce. Well, yes, it is. Yeah, I can. Yes, I know. I knew what you were asking. Are you testing me, Brian? Okay, I'm gonna stop now. No. I can't wait to see if this comes up in the sound, Brian. No, but I want you to be. No, I want you to be as accurate as you can be.
Well, but you notice that I'm taking my time to pick out ones that I don't think are, appropriate.
It has to make sense on the dish. Right. And that's not making sense, is it? No. At this stage of the game, it has to make sense on the plate. It's actually one of the nicer celery eggs I've had all week. Okay, so before I can blanch that, though, I need to make room. Am I getting you? There go your notes. Okay, and pull down my other pan. I'm going to set it in there like so. Put my celery right here. For just a few seconds. Doesn't really take very long for the celery to cook. And I'm going to use this second to check up on my lamb. I'm done with this. I want to check on those potatoes again, make sure they're not overdone. They're close. I'm done with this. And now I need to bread my lamb. So I have tarragon, honey, mustard, breadcrumb, and cheese. Tarragon, some cheese. That away, John. Really? Get over here. Get over here. You don't get to do that. Jeez. Oh, what are you making? I'm making my version of Provençal, John. What's in Provençal? I've just a little bit of cheese, tarragon, and breadcrumbs. Checking over your lamb? This is going over my lamb. Yes, you can go now. Cameo appearance by Chef John Johnson. A little bit of our honey. Set up. It's something I learned to make in the hotels. It can be also with garlic, olive oil, and other herbs. For this dish that I created this way, so I'm going to take and really make sure they get a nice coating. Oh, forgot one thing. Yes, yes. So, dirty stuff there. So I want that string on there when I bread them, right? Okay. Put there. There's this one. And bring this over here. That warmed up. Pull this one over here. Nicely coated. Yes, yes, that's it. And there, we're done with it. Got some nice caramelization going on with the vegetables and mirepoix there. Throw this back in the oven. I have my sachet and tomato paste. About $3.75. Yep. I've added a little bit of tomato paste, lamb jerky. I'm allowing that tomato paste to pincé a little bit. Okay. Take my stock, put it right in there like so. My sachet. I'm going to turn this heat down just a little, as low as I can get it. Because then I'm going to start the process for my vegetables. Some shallots, some vinegar, sugar I spoke of earlier. Like so.
just going to let that sit there. The vinegar I'm going to add the last second. I don't want to get total discoloration with my Swiss chard. Sugars for those beets when they come out, which I'm about to pull out.
Not quite as done, so probably should have put that in a lot sooner.
Ooh, they're hot. I just hit the wrong container. That there, right? All right. Garbage.
Smells great. Our window opened? Good. You didn't say that real loud now, did you? I don't have a Band-Aid on anything. Actually, I took the knife and impaled Woody with it.
Beet. Sugar.
The vinegar. A little more than what I needed. Some pepper. Salt.
Works for me. And now I need to strain my sauce. And I need to clear my deck. There. There. No, I don't want that because that's a lot of linen for the classes. But what I can do would you grab the plates out of there for me, please?